Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Warden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
You're 6 minutes away from a live episode of Free Talk Live, brought to you by freekeen.com. Listen live at freetalklive.com.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, February 1st, 2018. Silver is trading at $17.17 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,340 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $41, and the average price of Bitcoin is $9,288. Antiwar.com reports after a two-day rout by South Yemen separatists left them in near total control of the city of Aden, pro-separatist forces have ceded back a pair of military bases at the request of Saudi Arabia, who is now attempting to mediate a deal. Aden has been under the control of the Hadi government, which the Saudis are attempting to reinstall with their invasion. The separatists now say they back the Saudi invasion as well and also support Hadi, but want him to fire his existing government. That's likely an issue that the United Arab Emirates is pushing, as the UAE has been souring on the Hadi allies and backing the separatists who don't have the long-standing ties to the Muslim Brotherhood. Though placating the Saudis likely means continuing to endorse the war, it's strange for the separatists to still present themselves as a separatist movement when the pro-Hadi forces already control materially all of Old South Yemen, and territory being fought over is largely in North Yemen. The Saudis continue to have the goal of not having Shiites in power anywhere in Yemen, but seemingly the South Yemen separatists would only be worried about settling the war in a way that leaves South Yemen separate. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. UPI reports the Environmental Protection Agency pushed back the applicable date of a 2015 rule redefining government power over small waterways by 2 years. EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt issued a statement Wednesday announcing the agency filed legal documents requiring to suspend the Waters of the United States rule developed by the Obama administration for 2 years. Pruitt said, "Today the EPA is taking action to reduce confusion and provide certainty to America's farmers and ranchers. The 2015 Waters of the United States rule developed by the Obama administration will not be applicable for the next 2 years while we work through the process of providing long-term regulatory certainty across all 50 states about what waters are subject to federal regulation." The rule originally had an effective date of August 28, 2015, but that was halted due to a stay by the 6th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. Last week, the U.S. Supreme Court determined the appeals court lacked the authority to issue the stay because it did not have original jurisdiction to review the challenge. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports thousands of San Francisco residents convicted of cannabis offenses since 1975 will see those convictions dismissed or reduced under an effort announced Wednesday by the city's district attorney. California's Proposition 64, which legalized recreational cannabis use and possession and reduced criminal penalties, allowed people to ask the court to reduce or dismiss previous cannabis convictions. But top San Francisco prosecutor George Gascon said on Wednesday he would not wait and would instead dismiss 3,038 misdemeanors and consider reducing an additional 4,900 felony cannabis charges. The move is meant to make it easier for people who would otherwise have to retain an attorney to file expungement paperwork for convictions that can scuttle employment and housing opportunities and have disproportionately affected African Americans. Gascon said in a statement, "Long ago, we lost our ability to distinguish the dangerous from the nuisance, and it has broken our pocketbooks, the fabric of our communities, and we are no safer for it." Gascon said relatively few Californians had petitioned courts to have convictions expunged since the legalization measure legislature was passed in 2016. 9 states plus the District of Columbia have legalized cannabis for recreational use, while dozens of others permit it for medical use. California finalized its licensing, regulatory, and tax structure to allow cannabis shops to open for retail sales this year. In mid-January, however, the U.S. Department of Justice rescinded an Obama administration policy that had eased enforcement of federal cannabis laws in states that legalized cannabis, instead giving federal prosecutors wide latitude to pursue criminal charges. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Following reports of a newly posted job listing at area marketing firm Swenson Digital, The Onion spoke to a few of the 1,400 applicants who claim they are, quote, absolutely perfect for this position.
When I first saw this opening, I knew it was right for me. I've got tons of experience. I've got all the skills they're looking for.
If you look at my resume, I've got everything they're looking for. I mean, I've held similar jobs like this in the past. I'm extremely driven. I really think this is going to work out.
I've got a BA in marketing, which the posting said was recommended, so I think that'll bode really well for me. I've had plenty of team experience, and I think that would stand out. Not to mention the fact that I'm great with
web design and HTML, and pretty proficient with Excel and PowerPoint. Also, I think the culture is
very me, you know. I think I'd fit in well with the other employees. I also think I had a great
resume and cover letter. I think as soon as they interview me, they'll see I'm the perfect candidate.
As of this video's release, Swenson Digital had extended a job offer to an applicant who happens to be a friend of the boss's son.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. We'll give you the toll-free call-in line here momentarily where you can call in and join us on the radio. The us in studio tonight is Darryl.
And Chris.
And Chris, did you hear the good news for thousands of people in San Francisco that had previously been convicted of cannabis offenses going back to 1975.
I did hear that. I saw that you had put that story in, so I didn't have to, but I had that one lined up for tonight, too. It's great news.
Yeah, so as listeners may recall, in California back in 2016, voters approved Proposition 64, which legalized recreational use and possession of cannabis, wound up creating a tax and regulate scheme, and also reduced criminal penalties. And further, and here's the part that, well, aside from the tax and regulate part, another part that could have been better. It allowed people to ask the court for a reduction or dismissal of a prior cannabis conviction, but the top prosecutor in the city of San Francisco, George Gascon, said on Wednesday he would not wait for people to petition, but would instead go ahead and dismiss 3,038 misdemeanor convictions and would further consider reduction of penalties for 4,900 people with felony convictions.
Excellent.
Yes. The move is meant to make it easier for people who would otherwise, and here's what I think a lot of people don't realize is involved in asking the court for an expungement. They say here that people would otherwise have to retain an attorney to file expungement paperwork for convictions. Those convictions, as you know, can wind up costing you a job, possibly a house, and have disproportionately affected minorities. Gascon said in a statement, "Long ago, we lost our ability to distinguish the dangerous from the nuisance, and it's broken our pocketbooks, the fabric of our communities, and we are no safer for it."
No disagreement here. You're looking at me like I'm going to put up this big rebuttal, this big argument.
No, I was hoping that you would, expound upon what he said and explain to people how it's broken the pocketbooks and the fabric of our communities.
Well, I mean, we could talk about that for 3 more segments. I mean, all the ways that the drug war has failed us, all the ways that it has not only failed to curb the use of drugs, but it's made life worse in America. And a lot of people think that only applies to, drug dealers and drug users, the scourge of society and things like that. But it's not. We've overly militarized our police departments to the point where innocent people are getting killed when drug raids go bad. And if you don't think that happens, it does. Police
84-year-old grandmas, 7-year-old kids.
Exactly.
1-year-old babies lying in their crib.
We've got the address off by one number for a no-knock raid, and we're going in with flashbang grenades and guns. And it's happened where the person heard, loud crashing in their house, and they're an innocent person, and they react like an innocent person should, which is by drawing their own gun to repel attackers. And what happens? They get shot, or they shoot a police officer. So even if you're pro-law enforcement, these things are very, very dangerous for policemen. I mean, there's just no positive side. We can talk about the economic impact of, what it's done to inner cities, decimating local populations and their economies.
Right. And then, overall, it's just costly for, your regular taxpayer. You might not think
costly. Should put a number on it. Isn't it $1 trillion estimated to have been spent on a war on drugs since Nixon kicked it off?
Yeah,
$1 trillion, guys.
And let's break that down to a per year basis. At the federal level, it's in the tens of billions of dollars. And then on top of that, you've got state governments that are spending tens of millions of dollars every year.
Yeah. And let's talk about civil asset forfeiture, which is one of those things that comes directly out of a war on drugs.
Yeah.
That's where somebody has saved up all their money and they happen to have it in cash and they're driving across the country and they get pulled over and a cop sees a big pile of cash and goes, there's no reason for anybody to have that kind of cash unless you are a drug dealer.
Or they're taking a bus across the country. Like we've read several stories of aspiring actors that happen to be minorities that were taking a Greyhound bus from Chicago to Hollywood. And, this is a known drug transportation route. Well, anything could be a known drug transportation route. Anything could also be a known drug transfer location spot. McDonald's, hello, that's a very public space. People are safe, hand off a little brown bag in a McDonald's parking lot. Nobody thinks anything of it.
And it should not be your responsibility as a citizen to know where every single drug transportation route or drug dealing place is. You should have all these protections that are allegedly afforded you in the Bill of Rights and in our Constitution. But when you declare war sort of means, here's how what it means to me is all bets are off. We're going to do whatever we can to take out the enemy. Unfortunately, in a war on drugs, the enemy is you because you are not a police officer. They have to look at it as everybody else is suspect, and they also have to look at their own. So it's just an abysmal thing. It's one of the worst crimes perpetrated on the American people.
During those aforementioned no-knock raids, you've got one police officer that says, put your hands in the air. Another police officer that says, don't move. And a third police officer that says, lie on the ground.
Right.
You can't do all three of those things at one time.
No,
you will either be moving to get on the ground, or you will not be moving, or you can move to put your hands in the air.
Yeah.
You could put your hands in the air and lie on the ground. Both of those are possible, but you can't also not move.
Yeah. It's a shame, and I'll plug this book one more time because I think every American should read it. It is Radley Balco's Rise of the Warrior Cop. It talks about how we got to where we are and the effects that the drug war has had on the American people. And it also has a really nice couple of chapters talking about Keene, New Hampshire, where this show was broadcast from.
Nice. Does it talk about the ballistic engineered armored response counterattack truck?
That's exactly it. And it interviews a number of people we know, which is kind of cool. So
interesting.
Yep,
so let's
book.
Jump back into this article from Reuters, I believe. I cleared out the address bar, so I can't see it at the moment. Again, the article out of San Francisco, where the top prosecutor there has decided to just go ahead and dismiss 3,038 misdemeanors and consider a reduction of charges for 4,900 people convicted of felony marijuana charges. And again, the reason he's proactively doing this, yes, there's a law in California that allows you to apply for an expungement, but he said that very few people in California have petitioned the courts to have their cases expunged. And, well, if the court cost in California is anything like the court cost here in New Hampshire, it's about a $200 fee that you would have to pay to then have the expungement hearing, and then there's no guarantee that they would actually expunge the record. So he says because so few people have petitioned the courts for an expungement, he wanted to take the initiative and, again, drop 3,038 misdemeanor convictions for cannabis offenses going back to 1975 and further consider reduction of 4,900 felony charges. California's lieutenant governor, who is also running for governor, Gavin Newsom, tweeted his support out, saying this example underscores the true promise of legalization, providing a new hope for those whose lives were derailed by a costly, broken, racially discriminatory system. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
She seems happier. Her fur is so much shinier, silkier, softer. She has really mellowed a lot.
Sheba is 105 lean pounds of shiny, smooth, happy dog for life.
The shedding has stopped. The itching has stopped.
Since 2001, we've helped more than 250,000 dogs get over their nutritional deficiency miseries.
And saved our customers bazillions in vet bills.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynovite.
Come to Dynovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
The omega-3 fatty acids,
flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa,
the digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
Dynovite is nutrition.
Dynovite for life.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dynovite for help.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. 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 I've said it many times on air, and I'll say it here. The New Hampshire Liberty Alliance is one of the most important organizations for freedom in the world. New Hampshire is ground zero for freedom, and the NHLA is the best organization at promoting effective liberty activism. This ad is sponsored by Free Talk Live, and I, Mark Edge, am a lifetime member because I believe in the NHLA. Please check them out at nhliberty.org. Not everyone can move right now, but you can support the cause. Donate top cryptocurrencies or old-fashioned U.S. dollars, nhliberty.org. Visit their website and see what they're all about, nhliberty.org.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin. mymagicmud.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We're talking about the failed war on drugs, and, well, looks like there's some good news for people in San Francisco who had previously been convicted of cannabis charges. But we've got another war on drug story that we'll get into here in just a moment. But first, I want to remind you of a conference that's coming up in just a couple of weeks. It actually begins in 2 weeks, talking about Anarchapulco, making anarchy great again, with speakers like G. Edward Griffin, Jeffrey Tucker, Ron Paul, Roger Ver, Julia Taransky, Brett Venat, Bruce Fenton, Vít Jedlicka from Lieberland, and many more. There's also live music from Jordan Page and others. This event happening at the Princess Resort in Acapulco, Mexico from February 15th through the 18th. That's the main event. And then there are other events as well, including a health and wellness retreat, Cryptopulco, Change Media University, an Amazonian ceremony called the Snake and the Jaguar, and I heard about something just a couple of days ago called Anarcho-Forco that's happening after Anarchapulco. But those are all separate from the Anarchapulco event. Again, happening February 15th through the 18th at the Princess Resort in Acapulco, Mexico. Go to anarchapulco.com. Use code FTL to save 10%. That's anarchapulco.com. Code FTL saves you 10%. And remember, this is happening in Acapulco, Mexico. The event is Anarchapulco. And you know what they say? When you're in Mexico, don't drink the water because, well, that could be a crappy situation, if you know what I mean. Which means that you might want to wind up taking, something like Imodium. But apparently there's some kind of warning from the FDA about this. What exactly is this latest story, Chris? I remember having done a Peace, Love, Liberty Radio podcast, an Ask Me Anything, a good while back. And somebody had asked me about this. And I've actually got some different sources than what you have. But apparently, the FDA recently pushed some kind of limit of we need to make sure people don't buy anti-diarrhea medicine because opium?
Yeah, that's it in a nutshell. So if anybody out there has heard of Imodium AD, I think it's advertised on television and radio and in magazines and things like that. Well, it turns out, I did not know this, but it helps, how shall I say it, helps stop you up.
Yes.
And that happens to also be a side effect of a lot of opioids. Yes. And it turns out that Imodium AD works on that because it does have a very, very low level of opioids in it. So I'm going to get into the story, and this comes from Gizmodo. Go ahead.
And I don't want to spoil how much Imodium one would need to take
Then
to
don't.
wind up getting high until you get into this article a little bit. But I want to let you know at some point I will be telling you how much you actually have to take. So don't worry.
Should we keep saying but?
If you take like 3 Imodium capsules, you're not going to wind up having an opium trip.
Right. You're not gonna be hooked. Soon enough, U.S. grocery stores and pharmacies may carry a lot less of a popular over-the-counter anti-diarrhea drug. That's the latest recommendation from the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, which is escalating its efforts to reduce the carnage of an opioid crisis. On Tuesday, the FDA announced it would take steps to limit the public's access to loperamide, an opioid, and the active ingredient in Imodium AD, along with other antidiarrheals. It is pushing manufacturers to change their packaging as well to lower the amount of doses available per product unit. This might include switching entirely to a blister pack model where pills are individually wrapped and ensure that each product only contains a 2-day supply. Currently, Imodium AD comes in both pill and liquid form, with pills sold in anything from a blister pack to a large bottle.
So the blister pack, that's the thing to where you pop them out individually.
I hate the ones that you have to like peel the hard metal off and then push it through.
Hopefully it doesn't crumble into tiny little pieces when you're pushing it through the thing.
It's ridiculous. Ordinarily, loperamide only works on the digestive system, slowing it down temporarily. But in very high doses, it can also affect the central nervous system, just like the opioids people get addicted to.
Very high, and according to theatlantic.com, we're talking about somewhere close to 5,000 times the recommended dose.
Really?
Yeah, so we're talking
1,000 times.
Yes.
So let's say
hundreds of Imodium pills.
Yeah. Well, no. Let's say that the dose is 1 Imodium pill.
Right.
You're talking about 5,000 Imodium pills.
Right.
Which begs the question.
Earlier in the article, it does say that you can wind up having a mild high with hundreds of pills.
Jesus.
Yeah, so again, we're talking about you clear off the Imodium rack. This is not, according to William Eggleston, clinical toxicologist at SUNY Upstate Medical University, a, quote, cheap, legal, easy, accessible alternative. No. If you have to take hundreds of pills, that's not cheap.
That's ridiculously expensive. That I will dare say, I confess, dear listeners, I have not recently gone out and checked the price of street heroin, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say if you have to take hundreds of Imodium AD, name brand over-the-counter drugs, it's probably going to be more expensive.
Right, and the claim is that the reason there's the heroin epidemic is because heroin is so cheap.
Right, so which one is it? Unfrickin' real.
Yeah.
Ordinarily, loperamide only works on the digestive system. We talked about that. It does affect the central nervous system. The FDA and doctors have noticed people using loperamide along with other drugs to achieve a high. Others have instead used it as a home remedy.
Along with other drugs.
Right.
That's almost like the story of so-and-so smoked synthetic cannabis out of a Mountain Dew bottle and died. We need to ban synthetic cannabis. No, you don't smoke out of plastic things.
Right, you need to ban Mountain Dew. Yeah, it's just absurd.
Yeah.
Along with other drugs to achieve a high, others have instead used it as a home remedy to stave off withdrawal symptoms as an unapproved alternative to drugs like methadone. Unfortunately, this experimentation isn't particularly safe. There have been heart problems and even deaths linked to loperamide abuse. There's no official data on how often people are actually misusing loperamide, but it seems to have become more prominent in the wake of policies that have tried to limit the availability of other legal opioids. In 2016, the FDA issued a public safety advisory on loperamide. It also added a warning label concerning its heart risks in both prescription and over-the-counter drugs containing loperamide.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Frustrated trying to get business capital? Want to take the slow process and rejection out of the equation? GCNloans.com removes the slow, irritating approval process. Instead, get quick, simple funding. Powered by David Allen Capital, 80% of our pre-qualified clients are approved in days. Pre-qualify at GCNloans.com and get your money this week. It's that easy. GCNloans.com. That's GCNloans.com.
It's the Onion Radio News. Raccoon leaders call for the loosening of garbage can lids. This is Doyle Redland reporting. In a 4 a.m. speech at the group's annual Washington, D.C. convention this morning, North American Raccoon Federation President Bristletail called upon homeowners to loosen the lids of their garbage cans, providing the ring-tailed mammals with greater access to discarded food scraps during nocturnal scavenging.
Every time you seal a standard 30-gallon garbage can, as many as 6 raccoons are forced to go without their necessary daily supply of congealed baked beans, rancid cottage cheese chunks, and moldy cantaloupe rinds.
The 26-pound varmint closed his speech with a stern warning that without raccoons, possums could take over the world. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Your calls and thoughts welcome. We're talking about some of the ridiculous things associated with the war on drugs. Your thoughts are welcome on that or whatever is on your mind. And, you know, there's this Twitch thing, not not like I've got a Twitch. There's a streaming service called Twitch. It's like a competitor to YouTube, and well, we're on it. You can go watch the cams, and there's a chat room built in at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm, as in Liberty Radio Network. In studio tonight, it's Darryl.
And Chris.
And let's go to the Skype, where we had Stefan, who was on the phone, and then just jumped over to the Skype. Stefan, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts. Hold on. I've got the wrong thing unmuted here. Now we've got Stefan on the Skype. Go ahead with your thoughts.
How are you guys tonight?
Doing all right.
You?
What's on your mind?
I've been better, but I wanted to know what you guys thought of the supposed Senate run Mitt Romney is going to be making in Utah.
I've got to Google that because I wasn't aware that.
I've heard his name thrown out as a possible candidate for, who is it? Orrin Hatch, that's stepping down at the end of his term, or stepping down before the end of the term. There's the, what will it be? Either regular election or special election coming up in November of this year. I've heard Romney's name tossed out. I don't really have any thoughts one way or another if he runs, if he doesn't run.
I tossed his name out years ago.
Whoever winds up winning, there's a 99.9% chance that it will either be a Republican or a Democrat, and it will be business as usual. So it doesn't matter if it's Mitt Romney or somebody else.
The reason I find it interesting is because a lot of Republican voters have a huge disdain for Mitt Romney. It seems like the establishment loves him, but average Republican voters really don't like the guy all that much from what I've seen.
Yeah,
however,
I'd agree with that.
In Utah, though, he does have one advantage, and that's the fact that he's more. Yeah.
And don't forget, he helped bring the Olympics to Salt Lake.
Well, and it's not like it's going to be tough to drag up another Mormon to run against him in Utah. So
true.
I had speculated a long time ago that, Evan McMullen might have gone for it because he also is a Mormon and is probably far more likable to most people than Mitt Romney is.
I think my boot is more likable than Mitt Romney. I don't know Mitt Romney, but he just bored the living hell out of me. Every time I saw him on TV, it's just
Who let the dogs out? That was absolutely hilarious when Mitt Romney was campaigning in some minority neighborhood and decided to do a photo op and just blurted out, "Who let the dogs out?" Like he was trying to be cool. It's like the meme with Steve Buscemi where he's dressed up like the teenager and he's got the skateboard. "How's it going, my fellow kids?" That's
painful.
What the Mitt Romney "who let the dogs out" thing reminded me of. So any further thoughts on that possible Senate run that may or may not happen? Right now it's just pure speculation.
I'm going to add one more comment on what you guys were talking about, which was the war on drugs and how people are saying that opioids are just some cheap alternative. I don't know where people get that. I mean, I know people who have abused oxycodone and things like that to try to get high, but typically it doesn't work very well. These are painkillers. These are not designed to get high. And if you try to get high off of them, I don't think you're going to get very good results.
Right.
Go to sleep.
Again, for anybody just tuning in, that's about the story that Chris had brought in where the FDA, and Stefan, thank you for the call, where the FDA has issued a warning about people taking large amounts of Imodium to get high. Again, the numbers here from the Atlantic is that it's somewhere around 5,000 times the recommended dose. Some guy, Dr. Eggleston, not doctor, just William Eggleston, a clinical toxicologist at SUNY Upstate Medical University, says, "I've heard stories of people taking 400 or 500 tablets a day. They put it in a blender and make a smoothie and drink it over 1 or 2 hours."
Jeez.
He also claims that you can buy 400 tablets online for $10.
See, now that wouldn't surprise me because you can get a lot of things online. You can buy them in bulk, and if there is, and I'm pretty sure there's a generic version of Imodium.
Right.
I think you can go buy
find loperamide, which is the active ingredient.
Right. But you can buy the generic version of Claritin D.
Right.
You can buy the generic version of loperamide. So, yeah, I don't doubt that. What I really doubt is whether this is the best use of the taxpayers' money in going after anti-crap pills, believing that this is going to make any dent in the problems of addiction in a failed war on drugs. I'm sorry.
I wonder if anybody's actually doing this, or if it's like the Tide Pod challenge to where, I heard about somebody that did fill in the blank.
Right.
And there's not really any evidence that anybody actually did fill in the blank.
Right. And that's what so often it's so sad when our government falls for this stuff. It's just them exercising control over people. You know, to me, this is, if it were a science fiction, then the people would walk off the stage and go, do you believe we're actually able to tell people what they can put in there? We're telling them that they can't put anti-diarrhea pills. They can't get enough for what they need. Yeah. We can do that. We have that kind of control over people's lives. It's insane.
This reminds me of that Onion article from about 6 years ago. Headline, Nation's Moms Invent New Recreational Drug to Worry About. The totally contrived drug that in no way exists in any objective reality and is only real in the minds of the mothers is known by the street name Scramp. And according to the moms who previously did not have actual things to worry about, a batch can be made from everyday household supplies like sugar, window cleaner, and petroleum jelly. And recently, the nation's moms created a completely fictitious scenario, the sole purpose of which was to worry themselves sick, wherein household glue can also be used to make Scramp. And then it goes on where moms are talking about teenagers doing typical teenager things. Must be the Scramp. This whole thing about people are taking 5,000 Imodium pills to get high as a cheap alternative to buying heroin on the street corner sounds like Scramp.
Right. It's that insane, and it's not the first time that government's gone after over-the-counter drugs in the over-the-counter medicines in a war on drugs. I mean, I routinely take, and by routinely I mean every night, my girlfriend allegedly says it helps with my snoring, but I have not only seasonal allergies, but I guess things like dust and dander, and I live in the country. I'm always kind of stuffed up, and so I take Claritin D, or a generic form of Claritin D. Claritin D is Claritin plus pseudoephedrine, or what people used to call Sudafed. And this is one of those things that I have to go through. I can only buy up to a 15-day supply. Okay. That's it, a 5, 10, or a 15-day supply. Yep. If I try to buy more in that, I get turned down and probably flagged. Because what? Because I have to give them my ID when I go into a pharmacy.
Oh, right, because Walter White made blue meth using... Oh, wait, no, he went and found that big, giant 50...
Throughout the course of the series, he found 50 different ways to make meth besides going out and buying Sudafed.
Yeah.
It's insane, and it's unlikely that anybody is actually doing this, yet my life is interrupted every single week or couple weeks when I have to go buy this stuff.
Well, just eat 5,000 Imodium pills.
I think I'm going to make a cocktail out of both.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynovite.
Pick up 2 bottles of Super Mega Fish Oil.
Get the 3rd bottle free. Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Dogs love it. Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com.
It's been said, any society is only 3 missed meals away from chaos. Those times may be near. Think about it. Our country faces multiple terrorist threats and aggressions from Russia and North Korea. Social unrest and violent marches yet again may lead to looting of stores and city shutdowns. And our crumbling infrastructure leaves our power grid vulnerable to long-term outages from a single cyber attack. When the chaos from any one of these threats arises, the government knows it can't provide during a widespread national emergency. That's why you need your own plan for self-reliance. That's where My Patriot Supply comes in. Get a 4-week survival food supply for only $99. That includes breakfast, lunches, and dinners. Order online at preparewithgcn.com. $99 for 4 weeks of survival food that tastes like homemade cooking and lasts up to 25 years. From My Patriot Supply. Get your kits today at preparewithgcn.com. Free shipping is included. Preparewithgcn.com.
The Shire Free Church offers a sanctuary to those seeking an escape from state churches.
The Shire Free Church is an interfaith, diverse group of people that may not share identical theological beliefs. As a member in or minister of the Shire Free Church, you are a sovereign individual and may be the faith of your choice.
We don't claim to have all of the answers.
We are open to all peaceful people.
We want to learn from each other.
What unifies the Shire Free Church and its diverse members is peace,
love, and liberty. There are many paths to God, one for every individual.
The Shire Free Church does not define a specific path beyond those parameters that must be your foundation.
Peace as your way,
love as your guide,
and liberty as your light.
Learn more at church.shiresociety.com.
That's church.shiresociety.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edginton Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855 450 free. That's 855-450-3733. We've been talking about the war on drugs and the way the federal government is trying to interfere with regular, everyday things that people take to, combat diarrhea or combat a sniffly nose. And, well, we heard that a bunch of people had been taking large amounts of this and getting high, and so we have to regulate. Something that they've not tried regulating yet, to my knowledge, is comfortable pillows. And how would you like to try the most comfortable pillow that you've ever used and try it risk-free for 60 days? I'm talking about the My Pillow. The My Pillow is designed to fit to the shape of your body, hold your neck in the proper position. I've been using it for a couple of years, and it's the best pillow I've ever used. And unlike a regular pillow, that, yeah, the MyPillow, it'll still collect dirt and dead skin, but you can throw it in the washer, throw it in the dryer, and it's still usable. Go to MyPillow.com. Use code FTL to get your very own MyPillow at half price, or get a second pillow free of charge. And remember, if for some reason you don't like it in the first 60 days, you get your money back. And the pillow itself, guaranteed to last you 10 years. That's MyPillow.com, code FTL. In studio tonight, it's Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
Thanks for joining us, Heather.
Oh, you're welcome. I would have been here at 7, but unfortunately there's a very, very nasty accident on my way in here. And
It's
it
never good
didn't
to
look
hear.
like whoever was involved is here with us anymore. So
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah.
it's kind of one of those things too where you think like, this is a road I travel every day. Like that could have been anybody that travels down it. And it really kind of like when you see stuff like that firsthand with your own eyes, like I drove right through this like mangled car. It was like all throughout the road in pieces. And it kind of really makes you appreciate that we're still here in a weird sense, you know, that I made it to the studio today, that, you know, I have the opportunity to.
We're glad you made it to the studio.
I know. I'm glad you guys made it here too.
I didn't have
prayers
a far
to whoever
commute
was
at all.
involved in that accident.
Let's go to the phones, actually to the Skype, where we've got Bad Slave calling in. Bad Slave, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hi, can you hear me well?
Yes, we can. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Darryl and Heather and Chris, great to speak with you. I just want to say something real quick about Ricky from the Commonwealth and
Thank you.
James.
Hold on. You
Thank
know
you
that
for
if you
using
mention them and they call in, we have to put you on at the same time, and I would rather not have that happen, but go ahead with your thought.
My thought about Ricky is that he loves to hear himself talk so much that he actually fills the stream with this consciousness or whatever, and then about some tiny percentage of the content that he puts out is actual is the answer to whatever question he had or whatever. It's like
you got to sift through it to find it.
I don't know how much consciousness there is, but it's definitely stream of thought.
Yeah, and I just would say to Ricky, get to the point, just stop with the Commonwealth.
Oh, we've been telling him get to the point for a couple of years now, and he never has.
I'm adding to that. Now, James, is intensely negative, and he's back.
Is he?
Yeah. Was it yesterday or the day before? I don't know.
Yeah, he's been calling in on the Discord, which is sort of a chat room sort of thing, but it also has a voice
nice
thing to where people can call in using that. He's been calling in using the name Mouth Breathing Dullard.
Right, which is appropriate for him, but everything he says is negative. There isn't, any
so,
word.
Bad Slave, did you have anything to talk about other than a couple of callers?
Well, drugs is.
Let's talk about drugs. Go ahead.
Thank you.
I'm sure some of our listeners are in no short supply of
not
those.
a big user myself. I've avoided. I don't even like taking aspirin. I have to now for blood thinning, but it just seems crazy to me, that people can't manage themselves a little better. It's just basic irresponsibility that creates drug abusers, and I think there are plenty of people that can recreationally use a lot of drugs,
right?
And without a lot of problem. And the idea that the police and they don't want to just get the so-called illicit drugs. They're going after anything that's been prescribed that maybe the pill bottle doesn't have your name on it anymore or something like that. The growth of drug crimes has been almost exponential. They love, pursuing, drug users because they're not real criminals.
Do you think that there's like some drugs that are worth keeping out of the hands of people? Like, what about the stuff remember that guy in Florida that was on like some bath salts contraption and he like ate another man's face? He ate a homeless man's face because he was so high on these like mind-altering drugs.
On bath salts.
Do you think those are some
Hold on,
things
he's
that
trying
should
to
be...
answer the question.
I didn't get to finish my question.
Yeah, you did.
No, I did not.
You just asked the question. The question was, is there anything out there? And I'm saying no, because the reason there isn't anything out there is because they're choosing to do whatever they're doing, and they own that. I want them.
But when they're choosing to do stuff that makes them eat another man's face, I think that becomes a public hazard, no?
How about alcohol then?
Yeah, it surely does, but that's their fault. And they own it. And,
right.
I don't know if I want to have like CBS all like, flesh eating.
I'll put a bullet in them so that
zombie.
It ends the problem, doesn't it? I get it. The idea that the state should handle this stuff is silly. It's always been silly.
I don't think.
Oh yeah, it has.
We know you you disagree with that. I disagree with you on that. That's okay.
Yeah.
But again, the point is should the state be the sole arbiter of what you can put in your own body?
No,
and for me, as someone who values my freedoms and my liberties, I believe that I own my own body. Therefore, it would be antithetical for me to allow somebody else to tell me what I can do with something that I own. It is not liberty. It's not freedom. We are free to make not only good decisions but bad decisions and to live by the consequences of those decisions. It's also completely ineffective because you can ban whatever the hell you want. You can come up with whatever. I bet if they made heroin illegal, we wouldn't have this big opioid problem we have right now. Oh, wait, it is. And if you get caught trafficking...
people that go out and stick a needle in their arm, they're still choosing to do it. So
you're
not going to really see much sympathy. I'm all about ending the war on drugs so that people that have medical... people that need to medically access drugs for either, their own health, well-being benefit. But I really don't care too much about the person that just wants to stick a needle in their arm and get high. I'm not
should we have medicinal donuts? Should donuts only be allowed with a doctor's prescription?
They can lead to diabetes and
some
lots
people
of
that eat donuts, they find them very tasty and they eat a lot of donuts and they get fat.
Okay, chill, Darryl, okay? If anything, I would support recreational drug use just so as a taxpayer, I wouldn't have to pay for people to be in prison that want to just go out and get high and potentially, if you're going to go out and get high and overdose on heroin, that's your choice. I don't want to have to pay money to put you in jail and do all this stuff.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? I'd love to pay taxes to have facilities that help people that want the help, but as far as just locking up every single heroin user out there, that's such a waste of time and resources.
It doesn't work.
And the second they get out, they do it anyway.
Right.
So let the people that want to shoot up, have help available for the people that want it.
Fair enough.
That's my position on it, but I don't have sympathy for people that do
You don't have to
stuff.
have sympathy, but I applaud that position.
Thank you.
Maybe, hold on, folks, maybe the first thing Heather and I have agreed upon ever in history.
Thank you for the call. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
BuySellMakeOffer.com.
BuySellMakeOffer.com. You got it?
BuySellMakeOffer.com.
BuySellMakeOffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, February 1st, 2018. Silver is trading at $17.17 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,340 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $41, and the average price of Bitcoin is $9,288. Antiwar.com reports after a 2-day rout by South Yemen separatists left them in near total control of the city of Aden, pro-separatist forces have ceded back a pair of military bases at the request of Saudi Arabia, who is now attempting to mediate a deal. Aden has been under the control of the Hadi government, which the Saudis are attempting to reinstall with their invasion. The separatists now say they back the Saudi invasion as well and also support Hadi, but want him to fire his existing government. That's likely an issue that the United Arab Emirates is pushing, as the UAE has been souring on the Hadi allies and backing the separatists who don't have the long-standing ties to the Muslim Brotherhood. Though placating the Saudis likely means continuing to endorse the war, it's strange for the separatists to still present themselves as a separatist movement when the pro-Hadi forces already control materially all of Old South Yemen, and territory being fought over is largely in North Yemen. The Saudis continue to have the goal of not having Shiites in power anywhere in Yemen, but seemingly the South Yemen separatists would only be worried about settling the war in a way that leaves South Yemen separate. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. UPI reports the Environmental Protection Agency pushed back the applicable date of a 2015 rule redefining government power over small waterways by 2 years. EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt issued a statement Wednesday announcing the agency filed legal documents requiring to suspend the Waters of the United States rule developed by the Obama administration for 2 years. Pruitt said, "Today the EPA is taking action to reduce confusion and provide certainty to America's farmers and ranchers. The 2015 Waters of the United States rule developed by the Obama administration will not be applicable for the next 2 years while we work through the process of providing long-term regulatory certainty across all 50 states about what waters are subject to federal regulation." The rule originally had an effective date of August 28, 2015, but that was halted due to a stay by the 6th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. Last week, the U.S. Supreme Court determined the appeals court lacked the authority to issue the stay because it did not have original jurisdiction to review the challenge. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports thousands of San Francisco residents convicted of cannabis offenses since 1975 will see those convictions dismissed or reduced under an effort announced Wednesday by the city's district attorney. California's Proposition 64, which legalized recreational cannabis use and possession and reduced criminal penalties, allowed people to ask the court to reduce or dismiss previous cannabis convictions. But top San Francisco prosecutor George Gascon said on Wednesday he would not wait and would instead dismiss 3,038 misdemeanors and consider reducing an additional 4,900 felony cannabis charges. The move is meant to make it easier for people who would otherwise have to retain an attorney to file expungement paperwork for convictions that can scuttle employment and housing opportunities and have disproportionately affected African Americans. Gascon said in a statement, "Long ago, we lost our ability to distinguish the dangerous from the nuisance, and it has broken our pocketbooks, the fabric of our communities, and we are no safer for it." Gascon said relatively few Californians had petitioned courts to have convictions expunged since the legalization measure was passed in 2016. 9 states plus the District of Columbia have legalized cannabis for recreational use, while dozens of others permit it for medical use. California finalized its licensing, regulatory, and tax structure to allow cannabis shops to open for retail sales this year. In mid-January, however, the U.S. Department of Justice rescinded an Obama administration policy that had eased enforcement of federal cannabis laws in states that legalized cannabis, instead giving federal prosecutors wide latitude to pursue criminal charges. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
We're being attacked by news from all sides in tonight's News Blitz. Now we're homing in on Houston, Texas, where NASA announced today that the crew of the International Space Station has successfully completed their 13-year mission studying man's ability to constantly repair a large object in space. NASA officials hailed the remarkable feat of maintenance at a press conference this afternoon.
And throughout human history, man has gazed at the stars and dreamed of fixing something up there. People once thought the ultimate feat in human repair was a really big boat. Today, we've accomplished so much more.
This comes in the wake of NASA's previous success, finding out how many times an astronaut could hold something in his hand, then let it go, watch it float in front of his face for a bit, then catch it again. All right, dust yourself off. You have survived the News Blitz.
Tune in tomorrow morning to Today Now. We'll look back at Jim's week as a polygamist.
Oh, it's going to be fun.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. 855 450 free. That's 855 450 3733. That is the toll-free call-in line where you can join us and bring up whatever is on your mind. The us in studio tonight is Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And Chris, you've got a story here about some secret evidence that the feds are using to make arrests.
Well, they've done this before, and these stories have popped up before.
You don't say. We've only been talking about the NSA for how many years, but I think this is something other than the
30.
NSA.
Yeah, and this story comes to us from NPR. It always amazes me when I quote these news outlets that I would not normally go to, but sometimes they have interesting stories. Branches of America's federal law enforcement and intelligence services may be secretly helping state and local police arrest suspects every day in ways that raise fundamental questions about defendants' civil and due process rights, according to a recent Human Rights Watch report. The report makes the case that federal law enforcers, police, and local prosecutors are concealing the origins of evidence and intelligence in scores of criminal cases, especially drug arrests. The intelligence may include NSA, mass surveillance programs, wiretaps, computer and phone surveillance, and physical surveillance. In other words, folks, all that stuff the federal government gathers about you without a warrant. That's it. They just can go to a secret court, say, we would like to get all this information on all these people in foreign countries that may be looking to cause us harm. And by the way, we may just accidentally scrape up the communications of every U.S. citizen in the country.
Yeah, and I've actually gone to Human Rights Watch. They have a 77-page document. And the summary is a very, very lengthy post on their website.
We'll be sure to put that online so people
I will.
So
I
people
definitely,
can check it
definitely will. And then they get into the methodology from April 2016 to October 2017. They investigated something called parallel construction.
Right. And this article will talk about that.
Excellent.
Defendants, the reports say, often have no idea about the underlying investigative tactics and constitutionally dubious methods, including warrantless searches that may have been used to gather evidence against them. The report's lead author, Sarah St. Vincent, says hiding the evidentiary trail opens the door to law enforcement abuse and misconduct. Quote, you could have interactions between the prosecutor and the intelligence community that are preventing this stuff from coming to light, St. Vincent says. People may be imprisoned without even knowing enough to challenge the potential rights violating origins of the cases against them, unquote. That is because police and prosecutors routinely create alternative or parallel stories for how they discovered the information to hide the intelligence gathering techniques from wider courtroom or legal scrutiny. This concealment practice, known as, quote, parallel construction, unquote, most often includes traffic stops and car searches. Civil libertarians won a potentially important victory on the issue this week when the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that the government will need to reveal more via the Freedom of Information Act about location tracking surveillance technology used in criminal investigations. In a statement, the American Civil Liberties Union of Northern California, which filed the suit, called the ruling, quote, a victory for democratic accountability and government transparency, unquote, because it, quote, prevents the government from cloaking its surveillance policies in secrecy simply because they were written by lawyers or because they implicate potential criminal prosecutions. The public now has a right to know basic information about some of the government's surveillance techniques, unquote. But one problem area the Human Rights Watch reports mentions, the legal analyses and specific arguments U.S. attorneys make in response to suppression motions, was ruled exempt from disclosure as privileged, quote, attorney work product, unquote.
So let me actually read a little bit from this Human Rights Watch. Again, this is just from the very lengthy summary, and I did post the link on social media, on the Facebook and the Twitter. They say when law enforcement, and again, this from Human Rights Watch, when law enforcement or intelligence agencies break the law, judges typically prohibit prosecutors from introducing evidence that was obtained as a result of these illegal operations. This is one of the main incentives that agents have to respect people's rights. Parallel construction removes this incentive by deliberately rendering those agents' actions invisible to the courts and to the defendants, and the resulting lack of accountability risks turning constitutional rights into little more than words on paper.
Right. These are the rules that the prosecution has to get around. So how do we do that? Okay, we can do that and technically not violate the letter of the law and its absurdity.
They continue, the impact is not limited to criminal defendants. If government agents can potentially create privacy-violating, discriminatory, or otherwise unlawful programs or patterns of behavior in secret and without facing any negative consequences, the rights of every member of the public are in jeopardy. Taken to its worst logical conclusion, parallel construction risks creating a country in which people and communities are perpetually vulnerable to investigations based on prejudice, vast illegal operations, or official misconduct, but have no means of learning about these problems or holding agents to account.
It's insane.
Yes.
Talks about dubious traffic stops. The report identifies several agencies, including the FBI, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, and U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement that often secretly feed information to local law enforcement. But the report singles out the DEA as the most active in helping to mask the origins of evidence by tipping off police to vehicle searches, traffic enforcement that police call, quote, whisper or, quote, wall stops. Under this practice, a law enforcement or intelligence agency possibly using information obtained by various forms of surveillance as state or local police to find a pretext, often a minor traffic violation, to stop a suspect and then develop a reason to search the vehicle, unquote, the report says. The rights group says that most defendants and their attorneys often have no idea and would find it difficult to prove that the government is using evidence gathered like parallel construction. Take it to its worst logical conclusion, parallel construction risks creating a country in which people and communities are perpetually vulnerable to investigations based on prejudice, vast illegal operations or official misconduct, but have no means of learning about these problems and holding agents to account, the report says.
Right, and that's the quote that I read from the summary here.
Right. How widespread the parallel construction and wider debate over its legality is not new, and the report concedes it's not clear how widespread the practice is. But the rights group believes such tactics are used far more often than the public is aware. And here's what I have to say on that statement. If that tactic is used once, that's too many times.
Yes.
If you violate the Constitution and you took an oath to uphold it, then you're in violation of what you said you're all about. So I'm sorry.
And
you use this stuff once too many times.
Isn't that the definition of perjury?
Yeah.
Violating an oath is the definition of perjury.
It is an example of perjury. There are other ways you could perjure yourself.
One can be, or rather one should be, impeached or fired from a federal government position for committing perjury, which is a high crime and misdemeanor, correct?
Correct. But then you have nobody left in Washington to turn out the lights.
I don't see a problem there.
I don't either. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you made my point by saying there would be nobody left in Washington.
Yeah. Quote, we have sources on the record saying that there's a unit within the DEA called the Special Operations Division that is distributing tips to local police that lead to investigations or prosecutions daily, St. Vincent says.
But it's just the tip, right? They're only distributing the tip.
We don't know what they might be doing or how they're disclosing. Even the things they do admit is likely to be unknown.
There's more on this, plus your calls and thoughts. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Thinking about getting into cryptocurrency? It's time you looked into Dash. Dash is digital money that you can use to send instant and private payments anywhere for pennies. Dash offers a decentralized network where miners are rewarded for keeping it strong and safe. Dash has made a huge impact in the crypto world. Start your journey. Check out Dash.org for more information and get in now on the future of cryptocurrency. Dash.org.
You've heard of Bitcoin Cash, but did you know there's now a Bitcoin Cash wallet? The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core wallet that allows you to send and receive either currency with anyone, anywhere in the world. The Bitcoin.com wallet supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available for Android, iOS, Windows, Mac, and even Linux. Learn more at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
From the second letter of Captain Mark. Any pirate knows that commerce is communication. Markets condense oceans of information into a single price. Innovations in communication are circumventing the scrutiny of the Crown. This signals a change in the coin of the realm. The Crown uses digital currency to surveil, censor, seize, and destroy wealth at will, so pirate currency must protect us from this weaponized money. We need to move funds further, faster, cheaper, and without third-party observation, basing decisions on an accelerating flow of information, so pirates require nearly instantaneous transactions with no arbitrary limits on volume or artificial influences on fees. Most importantly, a pirate currency must preclude centralization. Otherwise, it will become another link in our chain to the Crown. A superior currency will result in the obsolescence of the coin of the realm and the extinction of the Crown itself. Trade above the grid. Join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. it called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are 1. Share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love. But make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We're talking about some of the weird, sneaky things that federal agents are doing to possibly wind up violating your rights in a lot of different ways. And then, because they're not the ones actually prosecuting, they'll give the tip over to the local government, and then it winds up being called this parallel construction thing. They're allowed to violate your rights and get away with it, and you never know. Now, if they happen to come into your house and you have a security camera, then you might have some kind of evidence. And let me tell you about a security camera, a security camera system that you can get delivered right to your door. And it's a truly wireless system. You download an app, and it walks you through the setup. If you have a complicated router system and you're not the most technically inclined person, you can still get this set up in about 10 to 15 minutes. And you will either get notified whenever anything moves in front of the camera, or you can just check out the camera whenever you want to from that wireless device. And have we got a deal for you? Get 3 Blink security cameras for what the other guys charge for 1. You heard that right. 3 for what other people charge for 1. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. That's blinkprotect.com/FTL, as in Free Talk Live. blinkprotect.com/FTL. Chris, put down the phone, stop taking my picture, and tell us about this parallel construction. And again, there was a study done by Human Rights Watch, very lengthy summary, a 77-page report, but NPR has a summary of the summary, which is a summary of the report.
Yeah, and I'm going to repeat a little of what I just said just to kind of catch us up. And this is coming to us from St. Vincent, who is the author of the report. I think her name is Sarah St. Vincent. Quote, "We have sources on the record saying there's a unit within the DEA called the Special Operations Division that is distributing tips to local police that lead to investigations and prosecutions daily," St. Vincent says. "We don't know what they might be doing that they're not disclosing. Even the things they do admit to doing could potentially be used to hide something else. It's really hard to say how many layers there are in this onion," unquote. A spokesman for the DEA did not respond to several requests for comment on the Human Rights Watch report. ICE and the FBI also declined to comment.
Color me surprised,
right,
that the DEA FBI, and ICE all refused to comment on, hey, we heard that you're doing some stuff that violates people's rights.
National defense, Homeland Security. All I got to do is say a couple different things, and you have to go away. Right.
No, if you start answering a question, then I've got more questions.
Nope.
So the easiest
that's
thing
classified.
to do, the easiest thing to do is just say no comment.
Right. I say nothing. The report
as the DEA did, they just didn't return the phone call.
Right. That's even better. The report is based on court records for 95 federal and state criminal cases, 24 interviews with defense attorneys, current and former U.S. officials, and other people with specialized knowledge about the potential deliberate concealment of evidence, and analyses of executive branch documents. The report says a former federal prosecutor told Human Rights Watch that he was occasionally troubled by the pretextual car stops and searches, but at the day's end, they were all justified. Quote, "Does it bother me a little? Yeah," the former prosecutor told the group on the condition of an anonymity. Quote, "But if it's going to stop 100 keys from getting on the streets, it's okay by me. I didn't make the rules. I just play by them," unquote.
Keys being slang apparently for kilograms of drugs.
The group's report
which
echoes...
is not something I have ever heard. I've never heard people use the term key.
Kilo? Keys? Jesus, Darryl, where'd you grow up? Under a rock? Don't you watch any TV? Exactly.
Hold on. So we've got somebody in the peanut gallery yelling Miami Vice.
I mean, The Wire.
That peanut would be
the only thing that I know about
Bad?
The Wire is that one of the guys is Peter Baelish in Game of Thrones.
You're
I
very
only
correct.
know that because of the Game of Thrones parody song done by the Key of Awesome, where they were doing a parody of I'm on a Payphone.
I love the TV show The Wire. I highly recommend it if anybody's looking for something to binge. It was on HBO.
I
Great
watched,
behind the scenes.
I watched the Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad, but I don't think they ever used the term key.
No, they did. But if you want to look at corrupt police...
Hey, where'd I leave my keys?
You guys don't even want to know what shows I watch.
Is not me asking where did I leave kilograms of drugs. It's asking where did I use the thing that opens doors.
The Wire takes place in Baltimore, and it is a great look at
Baltimore, the place where the police recently said that they carry around toy guns in case they shoot a kid.
And that's the kind of thing they showed in The Wire. All the corruption, all the horrible things that the police were doing, trying to stop an unstoppable war, and they acknowledged it.
They carry around toy guns.
Toy guns,
yes,
in their cars, so that if they had to shoot a child, that they would have some reason, something to lay down and say, "See, we thought he was armed."
Baltimore Sun headline: Notable testimony from Baltimore Police Gun Trace Task Force corruption trial. Day 6, and the testimony was that they carried around toy guns in the trunks.
Who was that testifying that on, Stan?
Baltimore Police Gun Trace Task Force.
It was a
members
person?
Members
of the task force. Bell Bondsman Donald C. Stepp, Sergeant Wayne Jenkins. Other names down here, scrolling down. They mentioned Jenkins several times.
So it was a task force of like other officials investigating.
So what Baltimore had was this basically, what's the name of the unit again?
The Gun Trace Task Force.
So that's supposedly what they're doing, tracing illegal guns and things like that. But as it turns out, what they were really doing was robbing drug dealers, intimidating people, selling drugs, literally anything they wanted to do, and this went on for years and years and years. It's been a huge deal in the Baltimore press. The police down there, it's been horrific for years.
Some departments are corrupt like that, where it's like, they're not like.
And I wouldn't say the whole department is, but you've got this one group within the department.
That's like a festering cancer that needs to.
Right.
Yeah.
But
they had that on Cape when I grew up. There was like all these missing people. Like the local reporters would write about it too. Like there's all kinds of trials that had to do with the corruption with like elected town officials and the Falmouth Police Department. And so there was all these people that were like key witnesses. One was like some 15 or 16-year-old boy that just went missing right before the trial and never heard from again. Like somebody else's wife ended up, her body turned up. Like there's like all these people dying around the corruption from
Detective Maurice Ward said that officers routinely kept BB guns in their vehicles, quote, in case we accidentally hit somebody or got into a shootout, we could plant them.
Witness says the officers brought him trash bags full of looted pharmaceutical drugs amidst the 2015's riots.
Your calls and thoughts, 855-450 free.
Looking for that edge during those intimate moments? We see many ads for enhancement, but the side effects include death. At GCN Team, we should change the Healthy Body, Brain, and Heart Pack to the Healthy Libido Pack. The brain and heart are not the only organs that require a healthy vascular system. For proper blood flow at the right moment, go to GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
The answer to being in control of your own healthcare is freedom from insurance. Become part of a group of self-pay patients that come together to share in each other's medical expenses. Individual share amounts begin at $107 a month and $347 for families. Choose from 3 health-sharing programs. Holistic treatments may be eligible for sharing. See guidelines. Discount programs available for dental, vision, and pharmacy. Go to libertyoncall.org. That's libertyoncall.org.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
You know how annoying it is when someone keeps stopping mid-sentence as though he or she were asking you a series of questions? Avoid doing that. It sounds unnervingly tentative, and it imposes upon the listener to help you complete the thought. And if you're a job seeker, this alone could be a deal killer. An effective communicator sounds more confident. Complete the thought. Avoid making the listener impatient. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. Cutting through the clutter rather than blending into the blah, blah, blah will help you connect better no matter what the conversation. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook. Survivalspeech.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. That is the toll-free call-in line where you can call in and join us. The us in studio tonight is Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And we're talking about some of the secret techniques that are used by federal agents to violate your rights. And thankfully, the people over at Human Rights Watch did some digging and came up with, again, like a 77-page report detailing some of this. We're reading from an NPR article, and that discussion led us to talking about the Baltimore police story where the, what was the name of this? The Police Gun Trace Task Force.
Yep.
Where a couple of their agents had testified to doing some stuff of carrying around things to plant on people. So again, your calls and thoughts, welcome on that. But maybe you want to interact with other listeners and some of the hosts, and you don't want to do it on the airwaves of a nationally syndicated radio show. Well, we do have our own forums. You can find those over at forum.freetalklive.com. Although lately it seems that the Discord chat has been a lot more popular. You can find that at discord.freetalklive.com. So, Chris, let's jump back into, I don't know if there's more that you wanted to say about this Baltimore situation or if we want to jump back into the NPR story.
Well, let's finish up the NPR stuff. And we had just ended the last segment with a quote from a former prosecutor who said he was bothered by it, but hey, if it's going to stop 100 keys or kilograms of drugs from getting on the street, it's okay by me. I didn't make the rules, I just play by them. The group's report echoes concerns raised, as we've reported, on government and local police use of what are called stingray devices. This phone surveillance technology can mimic a wireless carrier cell phone tower to capture cell phone information, including a suspect's precise location, records of outgoing and incoming calls and text messages, and, if needed, listen in on a call.
All right, pause. It's not just a suspect's telephone that gets caught up in these stingrays.
No, it's everybody in that area.
Because they're mimicking a cell phone tower, capture everybody in the area.
Right. And cell phone towers, depending on the technology, can have ranges of, a mile, a few miles, up to tens of miles.
Right.
It's just one of those other tools, quote unquote, that they use. A judge last year fined the city of Tacoma, Washington for violating the Public Records Act by hiding details of its Stingray cell phone surveillance equipment. Is it legal?
Which means that the taxpayers of Tacoma, Washington wound up having to pay a fine because, as we know, it wasn't the city manager, it wasn't the mayor, it wasn't the city council, it wasn't the police chief that had to dig into their pocket to pay the fine.
Right. Story continues, and this is kind of the end of it, but is it legal? As far as many defendants know, their cases started with a broken taillight or improperly tinted windows. It's only if the government later decides to reveal its underlying source, which it almost never does, that the defense can challenge whether the car stop was done constitutionally. Otherwise, a defendant may never know. Federal and state agencies believe parallel construction is legal in most cases.
Now, is this a case of it's not illegal when the president does it? Well, wasn't it Nixon that said that?
Possibly. It sounds like something Tricky Dick would have said.
Tricky Dick?
Tricky Dick.
That's what they called Richard Nixon.
Absolutely. Before your time.
Oh, I know. Tell me, does being old hurt?
Oh, everybody loves to bust on Father Time, as I am known in the studio. Let me continue.
I've never called you that.
Let me continue with the story before I forget how to read. The reports.
Hold on. There are reading glasses lying around if you need them.
I'm at the point where I have to take off my glasses to read. Federal and state agencies believe parallel construction is legal in many cases, But the report says that the assessment is based on government lawyers' own interpretations of cases relating to what is called, quote, the fruit of the poisonous tree doctrine, in which a judge bars the prosecution from introducing evidence the government obtained through illegal activities. In essence, the government may be concealing certain investigative activities based on its own determination that it's not tainted by unlawful conduct.
And as we learned earlier in the article, not only does the defense not get informed of these violations, the judge also is not being informed of these possible violations. And that to me seems like some kind of miscarriage of justice.
It does to me too. The problem we have here is that we apparently have the government deciding for itself what counts as genuine, independent sources of information and what constitutes inevitable discovery, St. Vincent says. Covering up how evidence was originally found deliberately hoodwinks defendants and judges, severely weakening constitutional fair trial rights, St. Vincent says.
What exactly is this mythical fair trial that I keep hearing people say exists in the United States?
Well, most people will tell you that they have certain rights that are protected by the 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendments of the Constitution in our Bill of Rights.
Yep.
They're spelled out very clearly. You have the right to a speedy trial. You have the right not to incriminate yourself.
It's up to the courts to determine what speedy means.
Exactly, and it's up to the courts to determine everything else about that. So this is one of those areas, you know, we've particularly seen it in the last 15, 20 years where the Constitution has failed the people.
And there was
our government has failed the people by not playing by the 5 pages of rules that we have to control how they work.
So I think what we need more of those, we need more people presenting like alternatives, like alternative solutions, you know, because it's easy enough to be like, oh, this isn't working, you know, like this is.
Okay,
like, but what can we do differently that will.
Hold on, let me ask a question. You say there needs to be alternative solutions. I get picked up by Keene police with an ounce of cannabis on me. I take it to trial. There's one criminal court.
Your ounce of cannabis?
In what?
No, you said you take it to trial. You first said an ounce of cannabis. You're taking your ounce of cannabis to trial?
I get picked up by the cops.
This is what Darryl does to us.
I go to trial. There's one criminal court. And I say, hey, they violated this, the other thing. And the judge says, doesn't matter. What's your alternative solution that I should do to try to get my criminal charge dismissed?
Well, first of all, we should decriminalize marijuana. I mean,
good idea.
Yeah,
so it wouldn't have been a deal in the first place. Okay,
you know,
I'm with you on that one.
We're working on doing that,
okay.
And you know they've decriminalized up to 3/4 of an ounce. In my hypothetical scenario, I've got more than that.
You utilize your resources that you have available.
So
that's it. Like I'm going to say right now, everyone knows what the laws are right now. We can go online. Okay, so it's decriminalized up to what amount? So anybody,
3/4 of an ounce.
Anybody that
in New Hampshire,
even if I don't agree with it, anybody that has over that amount is choosing, okay, to accept the consequences and risks of their actions, which is what we live in today.
Right, but
so
your statement was. Your statement was when police violate people's rights, they should find alternative solutions.
No, I'm saying like alternative solutions, not in like a little case example like you just gave, but rather like, okay, if you were to write out on paper the current structure of our current political system here in New Hampshire and how everything's connected and how it works, what would you change? What would you add? What would you move around in order to present an alternative system that's more efficient and less.
Okay, I got one, and maybe we can talk about it when we come back. My problem is federal government. People in the federal government fail to follow the Constitution.
We'll talk about it, plus your calls and thoughts. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. If you could change just one thing about the government, what would it be? This is Free Talk Live.
Live from the Verticoin studio. This is the call to freedom. It's the Crypto Hour, brought to you by Helium 47 here on
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com.
We all have heard about the benefits of fish oils, but what about the presence of heavy metals, PCBs, dioxins, furans, and other contaminants found in fatty tissues of fish? GCNteam.com recognizes this risk and offers IFOS certified tested omega-3 fatty acids. EPA, DHA insist on IFOS omega-3 fatty acid certification. Get the best at GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Free Talk Live.
It's written in legalese. If you don't have training in reading that crap, it might as well be a foreign language. And as you pointed out, it doesn't matter if you can read it.
I thought I had them dead to rights. And these bureaucrats, they just like, no, we do whatever we want here at the zoning board.
Yeah, that's right.
And you'll kiss our butts.
Peon. Serf.
You'll
slave.
You'll do what we say.
Yeah. Why label them citizens?
Oh.
Why not just call it what it is? You're a serf. You're a slave. We're the freest slaves in the world. If you don't like this slavery, you should go to some other country and be a slave. At least we got cell phones and TV and beer.
Do have beer.
Our masters let us live a pretty nice life. They let us keep 40% of what we earn.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Your calls and thoughts welcome. We'll get back into the discussion, but first I want to make sure that I tell you about cryptocurrencies. Well, one specifically, because cryptocurrencies as a whole are really hot right now, even though, yeah, I know that the prices have been dropping on some of them, but crypto is good because it's good technology. And the liberty-loving voluntarist who founded Zencash took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money and messaging that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com.
And we're going back to this story. This was in NPR, and it talked about how the federal government a couple different agencies, DEA, FBI, and ICE, like to sort of feed information to local prosecutors so that they can get their police to go out and perform routine stops, which then they can hit the people with bigger crimes because they've gathered the evidence through either, surveillance of some sort or other means under the auspices of national security or something else. And we talk about the solutions that St. Vincent proposes, and that's Sarah St. Vincent.
Before we get to that,
go ahead. Actually, I had asked a question. Go ahead.
Oh, well, there was discussion about the fruit of the poisonous tree,
right?
A little bit in here, and Human Rights Watch actually has part of a hearing transcript from the case of United States v. Laura from the Northern District of California from 2013. Judge, if you know there was an illegal search followed by a legal search, but that was only obtained because now that you had the illegal search, you knew something about the case, that would be a concern to the court, and that is the fruit of the poisonous tree, potentially. Prosecutor, I respectfully dispute the point. In fact, I don't have any concern about that.
Yeah, why would I? The guy's obviously guilty, and we obviously have evidence. And in the end, we pulled off a lawful stop, and we got the evidence. Never mind how we got to that point. It's not important. Well, folks, it is important.
Right.
St. Vincent argues that it's up to judges and defense attorneys to challenge the origins and details of evidence and push back against stonewalling. In the case of whisper or pretext traffic stop, she says, we need to ask, why was the officer there? Why was the car stopped and under what circumstances? She hopes defense attorneys can use the reports to tell judges, my concerns are real. The government does engage in this practice. I would like to get some information out of the prosecution, unquote. It really is on everyone, including prosecutors, to be asking how agents got the evidence, St. Vincent says. Everyone in this process needs to be taking a really good, clear, skeptical look at what has been done at the root of the case. And that sort of wraps it up. But I think it's a great point, and face it, if you got pulled over and you got busted for weed or whatever it happened to be, are you really going to think that evidence that got you pulled over started off with an NSA wiretap of some supposed terrorists that happened to be friends of friends of friends, so your name got swept up in it, and the NSA identified it, then passed this through a secret channel to the local prosecutor who worked with local cops to say the next time you see Darryl driving, pull him over. Right. That's what this is all about. It's insane.
And something that is really kind of scary, and I had totally forgotten about this case until the tail end of this article from NPR. There was the U.S. Supreme Court case that was decided back in 2016. I don't have the case name in front of me, but the case, again, ruled back in 2016 that evidence found by police officers after illegal stops may be used in court if the officers conducted their searches after learning the defendant had an outstanding warrant.
Right. Warrant trumps everything.
Yeah, so, we stopped you even though it wasn't a legal stop. We found out that you've got a warrant, so therefore now it becomes a legal stop somehow magically.
Right.
And that case, Utah v. Strife.
My take on this whole thing is you have a few bad actors at the federal level that are taking it upon themselves to either further their own motivations, or I don't know what it is. I don't know what gets you to the point where you're in public service and you don't take the Constitution seriously. It's not that tough to read the Bill of Rights. It's not that tough to read and understand the Constitution. You don't need to be a lawyer to do so. You can ask some questions of other people. What do you think this means? And 99% of the time, you're going to come up to the logical conclusion, which is what the founders and framers intended. was for you to be able to read that, understand it, and know what your rights were and what protections you had against this federal behemoth. But we've let the behemoth just go wander around like frickin' Godzilla and destroy everything in its wake.
And arguably, and just because I'm making the argument doesn't necessarily mean that I support the argument, but arguably one of the problems is the reliance upon so-called British common law, meaning that courts are allowed to set precedent that other courts then wind up taking into consideration as that court ruling is law of the land. And so then you have judges and lawyers citing what other judges and lawyers said to interpret what was written down in the document that's supposed to outline their duties.
Right. And when we were talking a little bit amongst the three of us about how do you affect change, and on some things it's pretty straightforward. You know, we don't like our drug laws, so we work to change them. But when the problem is that federal people within the federal government are choosing their own interpretations of what they think the laws are and don't even go to another court because they just decided on their own. They just say this is what it is, so we're going to go on this way and do it this way and violate people's rights. I'm not sure what the solution is. It's not simple other than abolish it.
Yeah.
That's not an easy one.
Heather, I know you're not a fan of abolishing the federal government. You got any thoughts
I
here?
just think people that talk about abolishing the federal government are a little like
I just did. Be careful what you say.
Yeah, I have no filter. You should know this by now. God.
Come on.
Now I
was...
just like it's not that I think. See, I'm one of those people that I think there can be good, efficient government. I'm not one of those all government is bad and evil. It's kind of like I think anarchists that are like, oh, all government's bad, or like the liberals that are like, all guns are bad. And it's like, yeah, well, if you have a bunch of bad people that have no morals, no ethics, then of course they're going to abuse their power. They're going to abuse, their positions. But it's like there's a lot of good people out there too that at the end of the day, you can't please everybody. And there's a lot of people in certain positions that are genuinely good people just making decisions based on, what they believe is going to leave this world a better place or leave their constituents happier. Like, there's a lot of people out there like that.
There are. But what about the small minority that can do like this is and get people busted?
Well, that's why we have to keep having these conversations and figure out, how do you have a
conversation, with people that are violating the Constitution?
Exactly. We need to weed the garden.
Well, I'm asking, how do you do that? How do you have a conversation with these people in the NSA that are protected by law from being questioned?
Maybe having more discussions on how to recognize dishonest behavior and, there's really no one size fits all answer as to how you go about dealing with corruption. But I mean, you have family members that steal from each other, for crying out loud. You know what I mean? Like I've had family members steal from me, and it really all comes down to trust. Like if you don't trust your government, then there's something wrong there. And
there is.
Exactly.
Let's go to the Discord where we've got.
So how do you build trust?
Big Loaf
I guess is
calling in.
We all need to.
Big Loaf, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts. I still don't know if I've answered this thing properly. I don't think I did. I'll try to figure it out. Big Loaf, hang on the line, and then we'll get to your calls and thoughts. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. What are your thoughts? How do you wind up getting rid of that hive of scum and villainy? 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
Hello, my name is Marjorie Wildcraft. I'm the founder of the Grow Network, which is an online community of people who produce their own food and medicine. We are really into backyard self-reliance. If you want this lifestyle, I suggest your first step be to learn some basic home medicine. Just the other day, my 18-year-old son came to me and said, "Mama, I got a sore throat. Can you fix me up?" And I said, "Sure, Ryan," and in about 24 hours, he was better. The best home medicine for you to start out with is garlic. It's an amazing natural antibiotic, and I can show you how to use garlic to handle ear infections, sore throats, colds, and flus. As a way for you to get to know a little bit more about me and the Grow Network, I've written up an easy introduction on how to use garlic. It's at gcnwellness.com. Now, the station manager told me that I needed to...
Big Loaf, are you there? Hold on. I might have to hit the call thing to try calling you. I don't know. Big Loaf, you there?
gcnwellness.com and let's connect up.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, February 1st, 2018. Silver is trading at $17.17 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,340 per ounce. Zen Cash is trading at $41, and the average price of Bitcoin is $9,288. Antiwar.com reports after a 2-day rout by South Yemen separatists left them in near total control of the city of Aden, pro-separatist forces have ceded back a pair of military bases at the request of Saudi Arabia, who is now attempting to mediate a deal. Aden has been under the control of the Hadi government, which the Saudis are attempting to reinstall with their invasion. The separatists now say they back the Saudi invasion as well and also support Hadi, but want him to fire his existing government. That's likely an issue that the United Arab Emirates is pushing, as the UAE has been souring on the Hadi allies and backing the separatists who don't have the long-standing ties to the Muslim Brotherhood. Though placating the Saudis likely means continuing to endorse the war, it's strange for the separatists to still present themselves as a separatist movement when the pro-Hadi forces already control materially all of Old South Yemen, and territory being fought over is largely in North Yemen. The Saudis continue to have the goal of not having Shiites in power anywhere in Yemen, but seemingly the South Yemen separatists would only be worried about settling the war in a way that leaves South Yemen separate. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. UPI reports the Environmental Protection Agency pushed back the applicable date of a 2015 rule redefining government power over small waterways by 2 years. EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt issued a statement Wednesday announcing the agency filed legal documents requiring to suspend the Waters of the United States rule developed by the Obama administration for 2 years. Pruitt said, "Today the EPA is taking action to reduce confusion and provide certainty to America's farmers and ranchers. The 2015 Waters of the United States rule developed by the Obama administration will not be applicable for the next 2 years while we work through the process of providing long-term regulatory certainty across all 50 states about what waters are subject to federal regulation." The rule originally had an effective date of August 28, 2015, but that was halted due to a stay by the 6th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. Last week, the U.S. Supreme Court determined the appeals court lacked the authority to issue the stay because it did not have original jurisdiction to review the challenge. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports thousands of San Francisco residents convicted of cannabis offenses since 1975 will see those convictions dismissed or reduced under an effort announced Wednesday by the city's district attorney. California's Proposition 64, which legalized recreational cannabis use and possession and reduced criminal penalties, allowed people to ask the court to reduce or dismiss previous cannabis convictions. But top San Francisco prosecutor George Gascon said on Wednesday he would not wait and would instead dismiss 3,038 misdemeanors and consider reducing an additional 4,900 felony cannabis charges. The move is meant to make it easier for people who would otherwise have to retain an attorney to file expungement paperwork for convictions that can scuttle employment and housing opportunities and have disproportionately affected African Americans. Gascon said in a statement, "Long ago, we lost our ability to distinguish the dangerous from the nuisance, and it has broken our pocketbooks, the fabric of our communities, and we are no safer for it." Gascon said relatively few Californians had petitioned courts to have convictions expunged since the legalization measure was passed in 2016. 9 states plus the District of Columbia have legalized cannabis for recreational use, while dozens of others permit it for medical use. California finalized its licensing, regulatory, and tax structure to allow cannabis shops to open for retail sales this year. In mid-January, however, the U.S. Department of Justice rescinded an Obama administration policy that had eased enforcement of federal cannabis laws in states that legalized cannabis, instead giving federal prosecutors wide latitude to pursue criminal charges. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
In Baltimore, the streets have gotten safer thanks to the success of the new Permanent Daylight Initiative, which aims to prevent crime by illuminating the entire city 24 hours a day using high-powered floodlights.
It's just that it's so bright all the time, even in the rain.
City officials say there have been 0 violent crimes since the start of the program, except for one man who vandalized the light by throwing his body off a building into it. Now let's set our crosshairs on to Mountain View, California, where Gmail servers were down for nearly 2 hours today. In an online statement, the company said, "Tremble before Google. With the mere flip of a switch, we can bring you to your knees." After reestablishing service this afternoon, Google changed its logo and released a statement saying, if not appeased with a 20% increase in Google Chrome downloads by the next vernal equinox, they will take back their generous gift unto mankind of colored conversation labeling. All right, you can take off your helmet. You have survived the News Blitz.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Kicking off our number 3, your calls and thoughts. Welcome. We've been talking about the drug war, federal agents violating the rights of, well, pretty much everybody. And again, your calls and thoughts. Welcome. In studio tonight, it's Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And coming up, the Norwegian Ski Team's sweaters have caused quite a controversy. Plus, the poles might be flipping. Not the people from Poland. Like the magnetic north might become magnetic south or something along those lines. Was it that the premise of how Waterworld wound up being Waterworld was the poles had reversed themselves?
I do not remember that movie well. I know I've seen it. I think I saw it and said, okay, watching this once was enough.
I think I'm one of maybe 3 people in the entire world that actually liked that movie and watched it more than once.
I liked The Postman, if we're getting into...
I love The Postman.
Into weird, obscure... what was it? What's the actor's name? I'm sorry.
Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner movies, yeah.
The guy who danced with wolves.
He did.
Yes.
And he built it.
Yes, the baseball field. Let's go to the phones, actually, to the Discord, where I did finally figure out how this Discord thing works, I think. Maybe. We've got Big Loaf calling in on the Discord. Big Loaf, go ahead with your thoughts.
Yeah, good evening, ladies and gents. So, basically, yeah, Chris, to pick up on a point you were making in the last hour about how, public, quote unquote, public servants end up in a position and without even respecting the Constitution. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing new about that. These people don't care what kind of words are on this magical paper. They're going to do what they want to anyways. I mean, case in point, I mean, and the thing that ultimately turned me to like, full tilt and cap was Katrina, right? There is a Second Amendment. It says, right, keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And what happened? Thousands of active duty military and law enforcement flooded into that town, went door to door, confiscating guns, and all but 3 obeyed, right?
And
I mean, that's
and
disgusting.
some guys that just did work for 3-letter agencies. I know one of those guys that was called down there to do that.
Oh, really? So like as a non-public officer?
Private contractors. Same type of people we hire over in Iraq and Afghanistan. Yeah, they were involved in that too.
I'm not involved in that hiring process.
Yeah,
me neither. I don't know. I guess somebody is.
Yep.
But still, I mean, so I don't know if it's just a few bad apples. I mean, it almost seems like a prerequisite, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it feels that way. Yeah.
I mean, and people eat it up. I mean, you got people like Heather that are all like support the troops. So, hey, Heather, were you supporting the troops when they were going door to door confiscating guns?
I pick and choose battles, but I know that not all of our troops are doing that. Usually it's law enforcement.
They all were down there. Every last one of them.
In New Orleans, after Hurricane Katrina, the National Guard was sent in.
Yep, to confiscate guns from people.
Mm-hmm. No, I think we actually spoke about that on the air, and I probably spoke out about it. Doesn't mean I, think everything the military does is stupid.
But you support them.
Not in that instance, no.
Well, this is where we get into we were just following orders
This is
thing.
what annoys the crap out of me about anarchists, where you can't be like, oh, well, you're like, if I support using government to, lock up violent criminals, then you support everything government does. Like, no, you can support things that the government does, but not support other things that the government does. Have you ever had a child, right? Sometimes your child does things you're proud of, but sometimes they do stuff that you're like, no, that is not okay. Okay, so you can do both. Like, you can point out the negatives while also pointing out the positives. You don't have to be like, oh, government is just evil. It's always evil. It's blah, 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 blah. Not everybody that joins the military is evil. Not everybody that joins the police department is evil. If that was the case,
every one of them down there was, right. And I've got so far as to say that
all of them down there. I'm going to say that I don't agree with what they did, but I'm not going to go and be like, oh my God, they're all evil.
Well, here's what I think they had a right. They had.
Go ahead, Big Loaf.
Everybody that joins the military is evil. Not everybody that joins the police department is evil.
Hold on. I don't know
everybody that was down there was, in fact, evil. Stealing is wrong, especially stealing at gunpoint. And most especially since it's on this magical paper called Constitution that says you're not supposed to do that. They don't give a crap about that, right? And every last one of them's wicked. And I hope they get what's coming to them. And that's all I got to say.
Big Loaf, thank you for the call. And
that was weird.
And in that particular case,
I mean, I heard myself for a minute.
Yeah, there was a weird loop there.
Join the Discord call thing, even though it's limited to one caller.
Looped in.
Somehow they were in momentarily and stuff from their computer. This is one of the reasons that calls through a computer aren't
we do our best. We try.
Yes.
Yeah.
But going back to Katrina,
something wrong with hearing me
going
twice
back
anyway.
going back to Katrina and talking about the obviously unconstitutional act of going door to door and seizing guns from law-abiding citizens.
Give us your gum.
Exactly. No, it was a horrific thing, but where's the problem? So originally you had, I think it was the governor who came out with that declaration saying nobody is going to possess guns during these troubling times. So he's guilty. He passes down an unconstitutional order to other people who then order their troops to go do it. So they're guilty. And to me, that also makes the individual soldier, the individual policeman, everybody who ever took an oath guilty, because you should have refused to obey that order. When given an unconstitutional order, it is your obligation, if you're truly out to protect and defend. So they went in all those
homes when people weren't there?
No, they went in when they were there. They went in to people's homes and said, do you have any guns? Well, of course I got guns. Good. Give them all to us right now.
Let's go to the phones. We've got Richard calling in from Montana. Richard, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hello.
Go ahead, Richard. Hello, Richard. I heard you say hello. Are you there?
Hello.
Yep.
Yeah, you're on the radio. Go ahead, Richard. I don't know if you're trying to listen to the radio and also talk on the phone, but that's not going to work, and Richard just dropped off. Let's go to Dave Ridley calling in from somewhere, I believe, in New Hampshire. Dave, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hey, guys. Wanted to let you know, if you didn't already, there is action underway at the State House to try and do something about Jerry Delamus.
And the State House would be the New Hampshire State House. That's where our show is coming from, and that's where Dave Ridley does lots of stuff.
So what's
going on with Jerry?
Action?
They have submitted an HCR. It's HCR 11, which stands for House Concurrent Resolution. It would be a resolution sent to the president if it passes, urging him to pardon Delamus. Now, Delamus was the Rochester resident who went out to the Bundy Ranch standoff, but he was there apparently after the standoff was kind of over, or at least the infamous part of it was over, and he was sort of
he was one of the first boots on the ground.
Oh, so he was there earlier.
Yeah. He and a couple other people from New Hampshire were down there, people that I know.
I'm looking at the docket. There was a public hearing on January 10th. There is a committee work session scheduled for February 14th. So what sort of action are you hoping people will take on this, Dave?
Well, this isn't exactly how I would have tried to react to this. I'm not a branch hacker. I don't think you stop the federal government by having separate resolutions.
So do you think people should contact the members of the State and Federal Relations and Veteran Affairs Committee, or just let it go?
Oh, well, I think I appreciate what they're doing. Like I said, I don't think...
Dave, we're kind of hard to you're kind of hard to hear now. Thank you for the call. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Thinking about getting into cryptocurrency? It's time you looked into Dash. Dash is digital money that you can use to send instant and private payments anywhere for pennies. Dash offers a decentralized network where miners are rewarded for keeping it strong and safe. Dash has made a huge impact in the crypto world. Start your journey. Check out dash.org for more information and get in now on the future of cryptocurrency. Dash.org.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core wallet that allows you to send and receive either currency with anyone, anywhere in the world. The Bitcoin.com wallet supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. Download the Bitcoin.com wallet for easy and secure access to your Bitcoin Core and your Bitcoin Cash. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available for Android, iOS, Windows, Mac, and even Linux. Learn more at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America. as well as sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's fff@fff.org.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855 453. That's 855-450-3733. In studio, it's Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And maybe you've heard about cryptocurrency, but you want to learn more about various cryptos out there. Maybe you want to know some of the news that's happening in the crypto world. Well, news.bitcoin.com is a good place to start. They've got news, again, not just about Bitcoin, but also, well, a bunch of other cryptocurrencies as well. Headline that just came up about 20 minutes ago talks about Tether, where Tether printed 1/3 of all Tether after they got subpoenaed.
There you go. Tether. We can do it just as well as the central banks can.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's basically, for people not familiar with Tether, their cryptocurrency code, the 4-letter code, is USDT. So they are trying to be the crypto dollar.
It's an intriguing idea, I think. The idea that you would have a token that's pegged to the value of the US dollar. It makes it easier for people to kind of wrap their heads around. It's almost like you're trading your Ethereum or your Bitcoin for dollars. But the problem is, they said every Tether was going to be backed by $1 US, and they fired their auditors. They refused to be transparent about it, so it looks like a big scam, not unlike our central banking system.
Yeah. So, again, you can find out not just some of the scam coins, but also some of the problems that are happening. There was another headline that I saw just a little bit ago about one of the cryptos that was having a ICO, their initial coin offering, and somebody did a phishing scam and wound up walking away with $400,000 on a phishing scam. Again, that and more over at news.bitcoin.com. Let's go back to the phones and let's try Richard calling in from Montana one more time. Richard, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
To Heather.
Can you speak
Heather,
up, Richard?
Yeah, I'm calling. I would like to say something to Heather.
Yeah, you're on the radio. Go ahead.
Bud.
Yeah, Heather, I just want you to hang in there. I've watched this show for a decade now. The last 2 years, I have seen Darryl abuse so many co-hosts. It's ridiculous. He treats everyone who is on the other side of the desk so rude. It just blows my mind. He feels like he can talk over everyone, scream at them, question their intelligence, and I find it so disheartening. You're a beautiful young woman, and I want you to hang in there. That's all I have to say.
Oh, that was nice of you. Darryl and I have a good working relationship here as co-hosts, though. So,
well,
I
hope so.
appreciate
I like
Darryl and what he's
Darryl.
got to say, and if he ever steps on my toes, I'll be the first one to let him know.
Yeah, she's not afraid to do that.
But I do appreciate you calling in.
Oh, no problem. I respect Darryl too, but he gets out of control. He gets way too excited, and Darryl, you got to cool your jets sometime. Allow other people to speak up.
I've been letting people speak. I've been letting you speak for about 2.5 minutes, Richard.
No, I don't think it's been that long.
It has been. I've been looking at the clock.
Well, I appreciate the time, and like I said, this is the first time I've called in. I've listened to this show for at least 10, maybe 12 years, and I really felt tonight I had to call because I just felt that, when you hushed her, it was just a little too much.
Are you talking about when I make sure that we wind up hitting the brakes on time? Because that's a thing that actually has to happen, Richard. And when there's a caller that's trying to talk and somebody's trying to talk over the caller, it's not good radio when you've got people talking over one another. So you hush somebody, and the person in studio can see my hand go up as a signal to stop talking. Is that what you're talking about, Richard?
You do talk over people sometimes, Darryl.
I was watching on my large screen TV. You did not raise your hand. It was a caller. They were both speaking at the same time, but Heather was asking a question.
Yeah, it was a question. Remember when I hadn't
the question
finished
that he was trying to answer because
I hadn't finished my original. I was giving a little backdrop before I really finished my. I hadn't
you
finished
asked
my
the question and then you tried to monologue. Richard, thank you.
Yes, but
for
I hadn't
the call.
finished my train of
you
thought
had not
before
finished the
you
monologue.
jumped on the tracks, Darryl. Is what he's saying.
You had not finished the monologue after you asked the question, and Bad Slave was trying to answer the
then
question.
You tell Bad Slave to let me finish. Okay, who's the co-host here?
The point is who's the host, and the host would be Darryl. And thank God we have somebody sitting in that
the
chair
co-host,
because none of us know how to run all that crap, and none of us want to.
Robert calling in from
but I'm saying
Bellows
I'm
Falls.
the co-host to the caller, so he should have let me finish my question and then answered it instead of interrupting me.
Robert, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Okay, Darryl. Darryl, I've known you for a long time, and I don't want you to change. I want you to be the same way as you are now because you have a way of being able to capture the audience. It's nothing personal when Darryl rises up. He's, this is a guy that spends a lot of time looking for the truth. I've seen him on both sides of the coin, and that's what he's trying to do is to find the truth. Darryl W. Perry reminds me so much of, what's his name? Paul Harvey.
I loved Paul Harvey as a kid.
Good day.
And now
Darryl
page
W.
2.
Perry is the next Paul Harvey.
I don't want to be the next anybody. I want to be
There's
the
definitely
first
only
Darryl.
one Darryl Perry that I can say, and I like Darryl too, just the way he is.
There are
and
a
I'll
couple
call
other
you out
Darryl
when you
Perrys.
interrupt me, but
No other Darryl W. Perrys that I'm aware of, but the police chief in Kauai, Hawaii, also named Darryl Perry, and I get Google News alerts about him because I like knowing when people are posting news articles about me, and I get news about the police chief out there, and I think there was a thing where he got suspended a couple of years ago for covering something up. He might be trying to become like the state police chief or something now.
he's
Robert,
like your
any further
spirit
thoughts?
Police officer.
Yeah, Darryl W. Perry is a worthwhile person deserving of pride. Have a good night, guys.
Robert, thank you for the call. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You know, let's jump into this article about the Norwegian Ski Team's sweaters.
Let's jump into that.
Causing an uproar. Yeah, so the Winter Olympics coming up in about a week and a couple of days. And, well, you know,
Dang Norwegians
are wearing sweaters that some people don't like. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. I'm here to tell you about GCNtelecare.com, a team of board-certified doctors assisting you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Within 15 minutes of registration, care your family can afford. Revolutionizing the healthcare industry, virtual consulting providing diagnosis of non-emergency medical issues by phone or secure video on computer or smart mobile devices. GCNtelecare.com, virtual care anywhere.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way.
You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well,
I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make it.
Wait a minute.
Holy crap.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me? Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com. Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. If you like the show and you want to help us get on more radio stations across the country, we're on right now close to 170 across the country. We can be on more, but we need your help to advertise, market, and promote the station to program directors that make the decisions to add us to more radio stations. You can do that by joining the AMP program. AMP, again, stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. You can join for as little as $5 per month and get access to ad-free versions of the podcast. There's also the AMP-only Facebook group. There's an AMP badge that you can get for the Free Talk Live forums. And there are other perks. Just go to amp.freetalklive.com. That's amp.freetalklive.com. So the Winter Olympics coming up in, I believe, exactly 1 week. I believe February 8th is the start of the Winter Olympics.
I'll take your word for it.
And, well, the Norwegian Olympic alpine team apparently has wound up causing quite a stir with their sweaters. Yeah, that's right. Somebody has taken offense to the sweaters being worn by the Norwegian Olympic alpine team. The story here from the New York Times says that the sweaters, designed at a time when public interest in Viking culture is experiencing a renaissance. The theme for Norway's alpine ski team uniforms this season is the attacking Viking.
Okay, I'm looking at this picture. Are these the sweaters in question?
Yes.
They're sort of a dark, maybe they're black or dark blue. It's kind of hard to tell. You can never really tell. I'm going to zoom in. It's got some... some artwork on the top part.
Those are Viking runes that are on there. And one of those runes in particular is what is raising a stir with some people.
Is it like Pepe the Frog or what?
I'll explain.
Come on, can't we just guess?
Oh, you can guess, but it's not Pepe. Pepe the Frog is not on their sweater.
I don't see any.
Pepe the Frog is also not a Viking rune.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
You're not sure about that. I don't see a swastika or anything like that.
So the theme is the attacking Viking, which is an homage to the team's nickname. But the sweater features a symbol known as the Tyr rune, that's spelled T-Y-R, which neo-Nazis have tried to claim as their own. Now, the symbol I will describe because the article here does not. I had to look up this particular rune, and it's basically an upwards-facing arrow.
An arrow pointed upwards?
Yes.
Okay.
An upward-facing arrow.
It's like the one on Hillary Clinton's logo, except not facing horizontally, pointed upwards?
No. Hers was a block to where the arrow tip was... full.
It had different dimensions, but
triangle.
It was still an arrow.
Yes, this is just the line going up, and then two lines coming down, and there's nothing filling in the area.
Kind of like restrooms this way arrow.
Right.
Could be that.
The Tyr rune. Again, some neo-Nazis have tried to claim as their own. There's little evidence, however, that the rune originally had any symbolic significance beyond its sound value, but the letter shares the name of a Norse deity popularly understood as the god of war, which, again, me cutting in here, makes sense when the theme of the sweater is the attacking Viking. Makes sense that you would have the symbol of the god of war in that theme. Nowadays, however, most runologists consider it a letter no more mysterious than the letter T. Even so, the presence of the rune on the team's sweater design was enough to raise alarms. Norway's security police have warned of the rise of a small but politically extreme and potentially violent group called the Nordic Resistance Movement, which has been using that rune in its branding.
Okay, so let me get this straight. If you happen to use a hundreds or thousands of years old symbol from your language, and a couple thousand years later, a white supremacist group decides they want to use it too.
Yes.
Then you have to come down on a Norwegian ski team.
Something.
Did I kind of get that right?
So dangerous about symbols, though.
Yeah,
right.
Right, because the swastika was used in Hinduism. And still is.
American Indians, and the swastika is one of those sort of international symbols that popped up organically all over the globe, and it usually had to do with harvest, if I'm correct. Harvest and sort of the...
It's got multiple meanings.
Yeah,
in,
I'm sure it does.
Different areas. But again, that's something that was really, really old, got co-opted, and now
you tattoo it on your forehead, and that's all people want to talk about.
In the past year, the group, the Nordic Resistance Movement, has held rallies outside synagogues and in town squares in Norway and Sweden. One of the group's slogans, "Enough is enough," showed up on a drum in last year's white nationalist rally in Charlottesville, Virginia. The story here continues. In many countries, a national ski team's woolen sweater design would not be a major issue. But Norwegians take their knitting very seriously. With each games, both the sweater and its knitting pattern are available for sale to the general public.
Oh, nice.
Now the controversy has caused divisions over whether the ski team's sweater can be worn with pride. Margareta Finseth, whose job as the design and brand manager at the House of Yarn wholesaler is to select and sell well-known patterns for Norwegians to knit, decided against this particular sweater. A publishing author on Norwegian knitting, she said she did not want to give knitting ideas to white supremacists. Quote, "Our greatest fear was that the next big demonstration, everyone would appear in the ski team's sweater."
Oh, man.
I'm going to be completely superficial. I'm looking at this article, and I can't get over how attractive the Norwegian ski team is.
Yes, they are.
They look like
beautiful people.
They're good-looking folks over there
fantastic
in
they
Norwegia.
look like they could be supermodels.
They do.
Even the men. We're talking about 4 men that look like models and 2 women that also look like models.
So that would be 6 models altogether.
Yes,
Darryl.
Yes, I just
1
want
model, 2 model, 3 model, 4 model.
1 model, 2 model, red model, blue model. No. The decision of the knitter to not sell the team's pattern drew angry
Hold
criticism.
on, you can't say that on the air.
Chris, let me see the picture.
Oh, I'm sorry. You said knitter.
Yes.
My bad. Never mind. Go ahead.
Neo-pagans, Viking reenactors, and the fans of the national ski team expressed dismay at what they considered giving up the collective ownership of ancestral symbols to a tiny, unrepresented minority.
They look like they all do yoga.
They probably do.
Hot yoga?
Yeah.
After skiing down hills that are very, very cold.
This whole story just reminds me of the one we were talking about off the break, where that Michigan University professor, right? That used to be like a title for someone with somewhat high level of education. Apparently wrote a piece about how hot yoga is linked to white supremacy.
I've heard people make the claim that yoga in the United States is cultural appropriation, which I guess
yoga.
Only a superior culture could appropriate something. So therefore, yeah, I don't agree, but I see where if you're coming from a very flawed basis, you could make the argument. Again, it's not a good argument, and I don't agree with the argument. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. What are your thoughts on Norwegian ski sweaters and Viking runes? This is Free Talk Live.
Live from the Verticoin studio. This is the call to freedom. It's the Crypto Hour, brought to you by Helium 47 here on LRN.FM. When you hear the faucet, be caller 5 to get some free coins. This is the call to freedom.
Thinking about getting into cryptocurrency? It's time you looked into Dash. Dash is digital money that you can use to send instant and private payments anywhere for pennies. Dash offers a decentralized network where miners are rewarded for keeping it strong and safe. Dash has made a huge impact in the crypto world. Start your journey. Check out dash.org for more information. And get in now on the future of cryptocurrency. Dash.org.
Message and data rates may apply.
You don't follow the herd. You blaze your own trail. And you're as adventurous in the kitchen as you are in life. Whether it's paddleboard yoga or Peruvian steak, you're the first to try new things. So are we. We're Green Chef, the first USDA-certified organic meal kit delivery service. We offer delicious meal plans for 7 different lifestyles: paleo, gluten-free, keto, vegetarian, vegan, carnivore, and omnivore. Want to be the first of your friends to try Green Chef? Discover our exclusive introductory deal by texting the keyword FUN66 to 543-543. We believe that cooking, just like life, should be all about experience and flavor. And by exploring dinner options with Green Chef, you'll try new recipes, techniques, and ingredients for bold, new restaurant-level flavors. It's like enjoying a new cooking class, but in your own home. To experience this culinary adventure, text now and discover our exclusive introductory deal. Text FUN66 to 543-543. That's FUN66 to 543-543.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nesquik. Try Nesquik 4-packs, perfect for lunches and great for kids on the go. Look for it in the juice aisle. Snack time is a great chance to sneak extra calcium into your child's diet without making him feel like he's eating something he doesn't want. Serve up dairy-rich foods like smoothies, flavored milk, frozen yogurt, and string cheese. He'll love the treat, and you'll love knowing how good it is for him. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Possibly time for you and your thoughts if you call in now. We'll get to the phones here in just a second. But first, want to make sure that I tell you about a digital currency that, it can help build a better financial system for everyone. Talking about Dash, Digital Cash. It's a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast, it's easy, it can be private, the fees are low, transactions are fast, or can even be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime for just pennies. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the network. Join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today. Find out more at dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash, so go right now to dash.org and find out why. There's a little bit more to this Norwegian Ski Team sweater controversy, but we're heading to the phones. We've got Cliff calling in from, it says here, Statesburg, Georgia. I think that's supposed to be Statesboro, possibly. Cliff, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
How you doing? I just caught the tail end when you guys were having your conversation about opiates and drugs, and I heard some guy say something about you couldn't get high from oxycodone. Is that did I hear right?
Yeah, I wasn't sure where that was going. He was basically insinuating that you didn't get high, you just got tired. So okay. I don't know if I agree with that.
That was a quote in an article that we were reading, correct?
No, that was that I think it was a caller. Yeah.
Okay.
That was a caller. I'm sorry. I just I do that for a living. I'm a professional counselor and mostly in substance use disorders, and I just wanted to make sure that the listeners were clear that the opioid epidemic is very real. Although I did catch some of what you're talking about the failed war on drugs, and that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see the Controlled Substances Act repealed. Have it all taxed and regulated. I mean, and we could save billions and billions and billions of dollars from law enforcement and incarceration. But,
not to mention the human cost. Yeah.
The human cost, but we're on the front lines of this, and I can tell you that, and I know you guys in New Hampshire, right? I mean,
yes.
You guys are, I mean, they're dropping like flies in New Hampshire from the opioid epidemic. In what is it? What's that big city you guys there have?
Manchester is the largest thing they call a city here in New Hampshire. That
is it. Is there a place called New Haven?
That'd be Connecticut, but
Connecticut. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. The Northeast in general has had a pretty rough time with opiates.
Yes.
Yeah, and we got it down here too. But I just couldn't believe my ears when I heard that, and it's a pretty serious thing, and opiates are, listeners to understand that it's heroin in a pill. Also heard you talking about the Imodium stuff. I've actually seen that in the business. Yeah, it's not that 5,000 thing or something, but basically it's just good to know that an addict, anything that'll change the way they feel, they'll find a way. Down here we get kids do things like what they call triple C's, which is cold, cough, and congestion medication.
Right.
So they'll go into the convenience store and steal the cold cough medicine, and they'll take about 8 of them. And that combined with some cough syrup and weed will give you a nice hallucinogenic high. So
interesting.
You can learn a lot. I've learned a lot from addicts, man.
I've heard from some winos that if you take a bottle of cologne and a thing of like day-old bread and you pour the cologne through the bread and squeeze stuff out, that'll get you drunk. It will probably do a lot more than just get you drunk, and I don't recommend doing it. But I've heard from winos that it's a way to get drunk.
Well, they do that. There's another way to separate, the little squeeze bottle hand sanitizers.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a way to separate the alcohol out of those too.
I've heard that.
Wow.
And I think the takeaway,
just, like drink mouthwash as well. What were you going to say, Chris?
No, I was going to say it's refreshing to hear from somebody who works in the industry, and it's sad that we have an industry around addiction. And I personally place that on the fact that we've tried to control what people are going to put into their own bodies, and it just makes it worse. And I appreciate your comments on scheduling of these drugs.
I think you're right about that, but and I don't, this is my opinion, but it's one shared by many in my field. the opioid epidemic started in late 90s when the Joint Commission, who regulates hospitals, decided that doctors needed to pay more attention to patients' pain.
Right.
And then the pharmaceutical companies, of course, came along and said, hey, we got something for that.
You bet.
And OxyContin hit the markets, and doctors receive very little training about addiction. So the medical model is, I mean, we all know, we go to the doctor, we give him a complaint, he takes out his prescription pad.
Right.
And so that is what caused the opioid epidemic and caused heroin to make a big comeback, was the doctor's prescription pad. And I mean, it wasn't like it was intentional.
Well,
but
I think
that's where it started.
Purdue, the manufacturers of OxyContin, it was intentional from their point of view. They saw it as an opportunity, a huge money-making opportunity. I was just going to bring up one thing, too, and maybe you've heard of this, but a lot of our research, a lot of our knowledge of opioid addiction is based on the experiments with rats back in the 60s, and they had talked about the experiments with Skinner boxes, basically a very, very small box that they would put a rat in, give it a choice of drinking water or water plus heroin. After a while, the rat would go to the heroin, and then it would always go back to the heroin. And there was another experiment.
There was another experiment where
called
they had
the rat park, and that's what I'm getting into.
Right.
The idea of the rat park was a guy looked at this Skinner experiment and said, hold on, rats are very social creatures. They like lots of room to run around, and we're putting them in a tiny box where they're unhappy and lonely. What happens if I build this thing the size of my garage that has every toy a rat could ever want to play with, plus other rats to be around? And what did they find out? They found out that the rats would try the heroin, but they wouldn't keep going back to it. They preferred just the regular water. In other words, without a sad state of mind, you're less likely to become addicted.
Right, when
and
you've
I
got
guess
something else that stimulates you,
right?
Because human connection or
right.
in this case, rat connection. It does create that dopamine rush.
Right. So I guess my question, since we have a professional on the phone, and I don't often get a chance to ask questions like this, but do you see that in a lot of the people that suffer from addiction, that it's not just the drug, but it's other things going on in their life that are leaving them wanting? Or they are suffering from depression, or their situation isn't good?
Well, it varies, but I would say that you're on something. The with most people there is some sort of underlying issue, and substance use at a young age, usually around 12, 13, 14, becomes a way of dealing with stuff. And of course, it usually does start with alcohol or weed,
right?
And then it picks up. And one of the unintended consequences of our legal system. So I know, I'm almost 50. So when I was coming up, alcohol and weed were about the worst things that we'd get into. And but it's in Marlboros, and it's become so hard for young people now. They can't get their hands on alcohol or cigarettes, but they can have all the weed and mama's pills that they want. So they're getting into other stuff quicker. But yeah, the thing about the rat experiment is very interesting. I would say this about opiates specifically, though. Opiates and nicotine are the two most addictive substances that we know of. And it doesn't take much. I don't care who you are. If you get enough nicotine in your system or enough opiates in your system, you're going to experience a pretty uncomfortable withdrawal, unless you get more. So, I like the one time, and then the rats went on about their business. I can see that. And there are plenty of people who experiment. But,
right.
Yeah,
and the other part of that experiment, I encourage you to Google it a little bit, but the other thing they saw was people, the rats that even drank more of the heroin water went back to regular water, even though they were going through withdrawals. Maybe the rats couldn't associate one with the other, but it seemed like they voluntarily went through withdrawal to just be done with it. Kind of interesting, I thought.
Cliff, thank you for the call. That's it for tonight, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow, and we are always online at freetalklive.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, February 1st, 2018. Silver is trading at